Recoil in guns is overrated. You know what's really funny? Real steel shooters pay hundreds of dollars to reduce recoil. Airsofters will pay hundreds of dollars to increase recoil. Sort of getting over a cold, so bear with me. Greetings, fellow airsoft nerds. I'm James, or Caber as the cool kids on the Instagram like to call me. I'm a full-time operations manager for True Aim Airsoft Field in Roseville, California, which is kind of in the Sacramento area. In this video, we're going to be going over kind of, I guess, sales techniques for when airsoft sales associates or airsofters sell airsoft guns to real steel shooters, or what I just call shooters. So in this scenario, a non-airsofter is coming into your retail store or shop or field or whatever, and they are asking questions about using airsoft products as firearms training supplements. I'm going to start by letting you in on something you'll probably carry into every conversation or every customer interaction you have in this very specific scenario. If we can agree that dry firing, the act of pulling the trigger without any mechanical response, no recoil, no sound, nothing. If we can agree that dry firing is a valid training exercise or valid training tool, then obviously, if we can pull the trigger and nothing happens, then an airsoft gun will be beneficial. What it's just going to come down to is no different than any other customer interaction you have, which is what are they looking to get out of the product and how much do they want to spend? Some of the things I'm going to be talking about will kind of glance over some training or product misconceptions on the airsoft side of the house and on the training side of the house as well. Bear in mind that I am an actual certified firearms instructor who has been teaching concealed carry and armed security license training in the state of California for over a decade. I also run an airsoft retail shop at my field. So it's a weird flex, but I'm probably one of the best sources of information you can get on this very specific niche topic. You don't need to know anything about real guns to sell airsoft guns to guys that are looking to use airsoft guns as firearms training supplements or firearms training tools. It's no different fundamentally than any other retail scenario when a customer asks about a product. You just have to know about the product, what its capabilities are, and then we talk about pricing. Then you just bag that thing up. If you're a manager, I would highly advise selling guns, specifically handguns, that aren't popular with like recreational airsofters, but could be popular with shooters. Probably one of the best examples of that is the Springfield XD. You can get them on Evike. I can't recall. I'll bring up like the product code and stuff on the side and do like one of these things. Like, yeah, it's cool. The actual Springfield XD, the firearm itself, is fairly common with armed guards and with concealed carry holders. But you don't really see it in airsoft shops. You don't really see it in the recreational side of airsoft because it's not this cool, sexy gun. It's not a duty gun. It's not military issue. There's no Call of Duty skin for it. You're also going to want to consider carrying the CZ Shadows. Now, the CZ guns are getting pretty popular, so you might already have some of those anyway, but look at the different CZ Shadow, or excuse me, the CZ model of pistol, because if you look at what's happening in like USPSA and IDPA in pistol shooting in the action pistol competition world, dude, those CZ Shadows are really starting to take over. A lot that the CZ in the competitive world, to my eye, looks like it's giving Glock a decent run for its money. Handgun inquiries are usually more specific because they just want it to fit the holster. So the most specific question you will probably get for the airsoft product is, will this fit in my holster? Well, what kind of holster do you have? I have this. Oh, it's passive retention? Yeah, it fits in all passive retention holsters. I have a level 3 holster. Bring that holster in without a gun and let's give it a shot. I will tell you from experience, most of the airsoft replica, like the licensed gun, your XDs, your Glocks, stuff like that, they're usually going to fit in every passive and every duty holster up to about a level 3 with no more or less issues than the actual firearm has in the holster itself. But one of the airsoft arguments you're going to hear in the training world, for example, is to say that a TM Glock is a better training pistol than an Elite Force Glock because kids like airsofters like, Tokyo Marui Glocks more than Elite Force. That's not real. That is an airsoft thing that's creeped its way into the training world and infected it with a misconception. But that's not real. That's an airsoft argument. That is not a training argument. With rifles and pistols, you're going to want to ask what distances they're looking to shoot at for training. Anything in a defensive scenario is practical, but if someone is looking for an airsoft gun, like to help them get ready for like the 800-yard Camp Perry match, definitely not. Definitely not for you. I will tell you from personal experience that airsoft pistols will give combat effective groupings at 15 yards. If you go and look at the videos I did where I compare the KWA ATP and the Elite Force Glocks, those groupings are pretty good and they're at 15 yards. I've seen guys miss the entire target at 7 yards with real guns. You're telling me you're gonna have problems at 15 yards with an airsoft gun? No. You have, the gun does not have problems. You have problems. Selling pistols is usually the easiest sale. Gas pistols have enough felt recoil to make the customer happy, and you could always like dry demo it with some gas and an empty magazine. With pistols, you don't really get a lot of specific questions other than your normal pistol questions you're gonna get. What else do I need? Does this come with it? Does that come with it? What's the difference between green gas, propane, CO2, stuff like that. But you really don't get any questions outside the norm of a regular, just like what a kid would ask if he was buying a pistol. The only real training specific question you're going to get is the effective distance and will it fit in a holster. Other than that, it's a normal pistol sale. Rifles can be a bit more technical. Right off the jump, customers are already being impressed by the aesthetic quality of any entry-level AEG. I would walk them through the same process you would walk, any new airsoft customer, in the sense of start them with like the budget quality AEG and kind of go up. They'll ask about the rail system as far as like Picatinny or M-Lock or whatever, basic operation, what kind of battery, what's the range, so on and so forth. The only real specific thing you're going to have to be able to answer is gas versus AEG. This is where the customer preference is kind of going to come into play, and it's really no different than how you would describe the differences and benefits and features of a gas rifle versus an AEG. Not a lot of shops really carry GBBRs. They're super niche. Not a lot of guys usually walk into shops and get them. They usually get them online because, again, of the inventory issues. Not a lot of techs are really comfortable with working on gas rifles. They would rather work on just your standard M4 AEG. And gas rifles also come with their own different set of issues. From a training standpoint, which is also comparable to just an airsoft standpoint, while gas guns can offer more realism, AEGs are a lot more convenient. What if it breaks? Do you carry GBBR parts? Does anyone in your local area carry GBBR parts? Some shops might, not a lot of them do. AEG platforms are usually a little easier to sell because of the maintenance, because of the availability of factory parts, replacement parts, upgrade parts, all that other stuff. If you sell a customer a gas rifle and let's say they take it on, a weekend of training or whatever, and that gas rifle breaks, that customer is not going to be able to train unless you have a tech on site and parts available that can address that. I have had customers walk into my shop, my trailer shop, asking about a training rifle, and they walked out super happy with a basic entry-level combat machine. It did everything they wanted it to do. Recoil in guns is overrated. You know what's really funny? Real steel shooters pay hundreds of dollars to reduce recoil. Airsofters will pay hundreds of dollars to increase recoil. Not even the most expensive gas rifle will give 100% one-to-one ratio of felt recoil, because what it comes down to is gunpowder versus green gas or propane or CO2. Most shooters just need something to practice movements, manipulations, all that stuff. The recoil is like the last thing on their minds. Can I do reloads with it? Can I move around with it? Can I put my actual optics and accessories on it? Will this break down a lot? What's the effective range of it? If someone is interested in felt recoil beyond what a normal AEG can do, I would recommend showing them a rifle with an electronic recoil system like the recoil shocks, or the KWA Ronin T10 systems. I already have tons of videos on the Ronin T10 if you want to check those out. What usually happens is the subject of recoil just becomes like this side discussion, blah, blah, but no. Once you start talking about recoil, guys start going off the rails into some side rant. No, keep the transaction going. Keep the interaction going forward. Oh, what about recoil? Well, you know, we could put a battery in this for you and you could feel this. We have a couple other models you could feel as well, so it's really whatever you're going to want. But you have to keep in mind that gunpowder is what generates the recoil, and we can't have gunpowder in airsoft guns. I'm telling you, as someone with extensive experience in both the training and the airsoft retail world, treat it no differently than any other customer interaction you're going to have. Go through your normal sales routine, find out how much they want to spend, guide them down their little buyer's journey, be prepared to talk about benefits and features, bang, bang, boom, get paid. And most likely, you're going to do what the most important part of retail is develop a new long-term relationship with that customer. If you want, you could kind of carve out a small section of your shop, pending space and availability and inventory and stuff, and sort of dedicate it to training, put like airsoft training or like a cool little training sign above it or something that is specific to that demographic of customers. You've got Glocks up there, you've got, the single stack 1911s that will fit in holsters, you've got maybe a couple GBBRs up there, you've got maybe a KWA Ronin T10, stuff like that, but you have guns that will be specific to the training customer. So you're not going to put high kappas over there. You're not going to put like the Hater CO2 revolvers over there. It's only for guns that could be feasibly used in training. It's not that hard. You're smart. You'll figure it out. If not, slide my DMs. I love you. Bye-bye.
Caber, who the f*** are you, nerd?